Welcome back to the floor. So today we're finally going to take a look at the Amylior Alltrack R3 Hybrid, and specifically the off-road conversion kit that it has. Now, Amy Systems sent me this chair a while back, along with the off-road conversion kit, and the kit is intended to take a, semi-daily chair and convert it into something that's a little bit more off-road capable, while still being able to run around indoors and things like that. Now, when I got this chair originally, it came with these slightly wider tires. To my understanding, this is part of the off-road kit, as opposed to normal width power chair tires, sort of like this Permobil has on it here. But if you notice here in the back, we have some fairly small caster wheels and these little arms that stick out. Again, this is a rear-wheel drive chair, but it's more of a hybrid in the sense that it behaves a little bit more like a mid-wheel. These are not just anti-tippers. These actually support the weight of the chair and also allow the suspension to work properly. Now, the off-road conversion kit, like I said, is these slightly wider tires, and then also these replacement rear caster wheels and rear swing arms. As you can see, they're a little bit bigger. Actually, I think they're about the same size as the stock front ones. Yeah, those appear to be the same size. But the idea is it gives you a little bit more stability off-road and kind of makes it a little bit more like a mid-wheel drive chair, which honestly, if I'm looking at this layout, it kind of reminds me of the Frontier V6 a little bit, just as far as the proportions and how the front casters and rear casters are fairly large, and then you have your drive tires here in the middle. To my understanding, this is a fairly new product that they offer. I don't know if it's currently for sale yet, and I also don't know if it's intended to be swapped on by the user. But I figured I would show the process for how to do this, and it doesn't really seem that difficult. There's just a few little connection points here and some bolts you tighten up and things like that. Now, I'm not going to be actually reviewing the off-road capability of this chair in the video after we do the conversion. This is one of those things life happens, and you move a lot and all this stuff, and I figured the best way to get things done is to just do it. So I've had this chair for a little over a year now. We've done the original review on it. I'll link to that up above and down below. We're just going to install the kit today, and then I'm going to run around on the chair a little bit, kind of get a feel for it, and then I will do a separate review video of the off-road capabilities of this chair. Now, I do air quotes. Off-road chairs, in my opinion, only work outdoors. You have like the Exo Quad and the Coyotes and the X8 from Magic Mobility and all that. Those are like true off-road chairs. The idea here is this is going to blend indoor functionality with the ability to go outside and kind of compromise a little bit on both. If you want to have a specific purpose outdoor only chair, it's just that, outdoor only. Like if you've ever played with a Magic Mobility X8, you can't get those things indoors. You can't get, you might be able to get them into a bathroom at a business, but like the idea here is blending everything together so it's a little bit more usable in general, indoors and out, and you don't have to transfer into a different chair when you want to come back inside. Okay, let's get this thing back up off the ground and get our wheel removed here. Now we should be able to get a better look at this rear swing arm here and see what we're doing. This is basically going to go in here, connect like that, and you can see here that this extends our rear wheel quite a bit and kind of makes us into an off-road mid-wheel thing. I'm also going to remove this plastic fender shroud here to give us a little bit more working room. And that just comes right off. Now you can see exactly what we're doing here. A little bit of dirt on this thing from running around I've been doing. So this whole mechanism kind of works together. I'm trying to figure out the best part to take off first. It looks like I should probably block up the motor there, because when I pull this off, this bump stop is holding that from falling down. So let me find something to jam into the motor there, and then I think that should free up everything else and allow us to take this apart safely. Well, safely without smashing my fingers. I'm not quite sure why I have this or where it came from, but I think this, yeah, there we go, that's perfect. We're going to start by taking off this connecting link back here, this one that goes up and down, and it seems like the way this is set up, it's not ridiculously tight. we do have a nylock on here, and that is what's going to be keeping this from coming off. Now, I've never done this before. I'm a little bit apprehensive about taking this apart in the right order, so I'm just kind of guessing here. Oh yeah, looks like this comes right out. And there does not appear to be any load on this, so we should be able to pull this off, and I think it's just holding up its own weight. Make sure we don't lose any bushings. Okay, so we got a little poly washer there. All right, this is now free. So let's put these parts back together here so we don't lose them. Next, we're gonna take off the shock absorber, and I believe that's what's holding this up right now. We've got a bolt coming through here, got a washer, and then there's a couple of bushings here that I'm sure are gonna try and fall out. So I'm gonna support this while I kind of back this out of here. All right, that is a nice tight fit. There we go. We've got some little poly washers. So we will stick this back in here once again, so we're not losing any parts. And these all appear to be these shoulder bolts that prevent you from tightening them down too far. So basically you just tighten them down, they bottom out, and the tension is preset by the hardware that they've selected for the job. Now this should be, yeah, this is loose now. So all we need to do is pop this off. And just like everything else, there's a nylock nut and a washer. Now there shouldn't be any load on this at all, so I should be able to just kind of pull this straight out, and yep. I'm gonna keep my hand under here in case any bushings fall out. Okay, looks like we've got two little spacer bushings. And I think those were on the same side, actually. Yeah, they were. If we look right down in here, you can see this wear pattern right here that's about the size of these little washers. And then if we look at the other side, you can see we don't have that wear pattern. Now, when I took this apart, it seemed like they both fell out of this side. And by looking at the witness marks there, we can kind of confirm that. So I don't know if it's supposed to be that way, but I'm going to put it back together the exact same way that I found it. So here's our rear swing arm. Let's compare with the new one. What's that one song? Was it on Sesame Street or whatever? One of these things is not like the others. You can see here, got quite a bit more length. Let's line up the actual mounting points here. Yeah, so there you can see the difference. This one, larger wheel, comes back further, it's a lot taller, and should give us a lot more articulation with these rear caster arms, and supposedly a little more traction and stability off-road. Anyways, this seems like a perfectly cromulent time for a coffee break. Coffee. Let's gather up our bolts and parts here, because we are about to reuse these. Let's jam this bad boy in here and see what we're looking at. This is kind of exciting, actually. Oh yeah, that's that is significantly different. This might actually work pretty well off-road. I'm not gonna lie here. I've got this big crappy grin on my face just looking at this. Let's get our parts put back together here. You know what? I just screwed this up. Didn't realize till just now that these arms have a left and a right. See how our shock absorber is over here and the bracket for it is over here? If we look at the other one, we will see that the shock mount is on the other side. Interesting. Well, something to keep your eye on as you're doing this. Luckily we haven't tightened our fasteners, and that explains why this got trapped. So back off it comes. There goes our washers. If we hold these two next to each other, you can see here that these brackets are on the opposite sides. So let's swap that out for this one. And now you can see our bracket is on the correct side. Okay, please hold while I reinstall these washers on this bolt. Actually, it's not a nylock. It's one of those stamped lock nuts that is just pressed in a vise, so it makes the threads really tight and means that it won't come off on its own. Okay, that is tightened up now. As you can see, let's get our shock absorber back on here. So we've got one poly spacer that goes in here. And there's a second one over here. And this is a really tight fit. It's not threaded. So I'm just using this socket to kind of like twist it into place. And it pops right in there where it's supposed to go. There we are. Get our washer and the lock nut on there. Give it a little test here. There we go, that moves freely. And now I think we're down to our last piece, which is this linkage bar here. And this basically holds on right here and connects the rest of the mechanism. This one is also pretty simple. There is a washer, the bolt, washer, and a nut. Yeah, having this picked up off the ground and then space the motor up with something, I think is definitely the way to go with this. So that goes right through there. Make sure we don't damage our bushings. I'm not gonna go too crazy tight on this. I'm gonna leave it about the same amount of looseness that it was when I first looked at it, which, there we go, it seems good. All right, I think we are, yeah, we're attached. So you can see I compress up on this, and our shock absorber compresses, our link arm seems to be working fine. And here you can see all that from another angle. Now the motor's not moving because it is sitting on top of our cookie box here. And once the weight of the chair gets put back down on this tire, then the whole system will work together. But for right now, we don't seem to have any binding movement or anything. And we've got one side installed. Awesome. Let's jack this thing back up. Get our cookie box out of here. Okay, now we can get our tire on here. And I will tighten those up in just a minute, but what I want to show you here is as I lower this down, you will see the angle of this change as this tire contacts the floor. There we go. Okay, now how's that for a before and after? You can see there's a significant difference between the two here with our trailing arms and rear casters. Yeah, look at this thing now. We're still, it looks like a little bit biased towards rear-wheel drive, but it's a lot more like a mid-wheel chair at this point. Okay, I'm gonna take a break real quick, get up off the floor, and then I'm going to go ahead and swap over the other side, and then we can kind of do some initial impressions of this thing. Okay, this is going significantly faster now that I know what I'm doing. And also, I didn't have to take the fender off. All right, Kirkland Signature, Walker's Cookies. You have served us well. Oh, and this is about to fall off the jack. Let's put this down. There we go. Glad I caught that. Oh man, check this thing out. We've got our giant caster tires back here now. And because physics, and we've extended out our moment arm here, we're gonna get a little bit more range of travel with our arms back here. I don't know, I really wanna try this thing out now. It looks so cool. Well, it's apparently the next day now. I'm wearing a different shirt. Maybe you can tell. Anyways, so we got this kit installed on the chair now. And what I'm gonna be doing is using the chair like I have been, because I've got over 100 miles on this thing since I got it. And I'm pretty well aware of what it's capable of inside and outside. We're not gonna be doing a review of the off-road capabilities in this video. But like I was saying, I wanna do some running around and see how it differs than it was before. Because obviously I'm used to how it operates. And when you get giant casters sticking out on the back, running around indoors might be different. Now, sitting in this thing versus the F3, I have noticed that the rear casters, the distance they stick out behind this one, are kind of about the same as the seating position on the F3, which is a front wheel drive chair. So there's a lot of little things, and you basically just have to use the chair, and you can't just look at it and say, oh, I think this is how it's going to be. You got to actually get some seat time in it, run around, and that's what I want to do. That's also another reason that these videos with this chair have taken so long, is I want to make sure I know what I'm talking about. Years and years ago, when I did like the one-day power chair reviews, it was just basically hop in the thing, kind of look at a few things, and then extrapolate what I think about it. So the idea now, I'm trying to do a little bit more in-depth, type reviews, and that way you know exactly what you're dealing with. Because as a person that uses the chair on a daily basis versus someone that's just looking at it on paper, there's a disconnect there. So I want to get a feel for this thing, and in the interest of moving forward and actually getting things done, we just made this video installing the kit, and we're going to leave it there for now. So I'm going to keep using this thing, and I will check back in once we figure out how it operates and I get the opportunity to run around outside. And now we're kind of into the fall months or season or whatever weather does. Our summer was like 8 months long this year, but weather permitting and all that, I'm gonna run around when I can and figure out what I can figure out, stuff and or things. So anyways, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.